Welcome to Louisiana Football TV Magazine with your host, Lee Burkeen.
Hi, I'm Lee Burkeen. We have a great lineup tonight. We have two NFL players, one former NFL veteran, Kevin Mawai, Donnie Jones, currently with the Philadelphia Eagles. A punter will be calling in. We also have two sportscasters. One has a radio show in Lafayette, and one has a TV show in Monroe. We have lots more. We're going to talk a little bit about recruiting. We're going to talk about spring practice that, believe it or not, it's already here. We have much more. We'll see you in just a second. Louisiana Football TV Magazine.
Hi folks, John Adams from Mansfield Auto World. Listen, we know you have choices when you're in the market to buy a new vehicle. But Mansfield Auto World wants to challenge you that our dealership should be your only choice for getting it right. You haven't shopped a dealer more serious about what you want, about the customer service you deserve, about service after the sale that makes you want to come back. Give us a chance to prove it. Call 872-4646 or shop MansfieldAutoWorld.com. We are the marketplace for Chevrolet and Buick.
Last year, we implemented a nutritional program designed to enhance the overall performance of our athletes.
We've seen a measurable increase in our athletes' size, strength, speed, and power with a shortened recovery period.
The Elita Nutrition Program is the only program that combines the parent, the athlete, and the coaches to reach maximum performance.
If you're looking for game day performance, max out with Elita Nutrition.
Elita Performance Nutrition. Speed, strength, recovery.
The leader in orthopedic care for over 60 years, North Louisiana Orthopedic and Sports Medicine Clinic, with state-of-the-art diagnostic, treatment, surgical, and rehabilitation services. You can expect the quality of metropolitan health care with the convenience of a local practice and a team of people who truly care about your recovery. 12 orthopedic doctors, 3 sports medicine specialists, one goal, getting you back in the game. North Louisiana Orthopedic and Sports Medicine Clinic.
Hi folks, John Adams from Mansfield Auto World. Listen, we know you have choices when you're in the market to buy a new vehicle. But Mansfield Auto World wants to challenge you that our dealership should be your only choice for getting it right. You haven't shopped a dealer more serious about what you want, about the customer service you deserve, about service after the sale that makes you want to come back. Give us a chance to prove it. Call 872-4646 or shop MansfieldAutoWorld.com. We are the marketplace for Chevrolet and Buick.
Last year, we implemented a nutritional program designed to enhance the overall performance of our athletes.
We've seen a measurable increase in our athletes' size, strength, speed, and power with a shortened recovery period.
The Elita Nutrition Program is the only program that combines the parent, the athlete, and the coaches to reach maximum performance.
If you're looking for game day performance, max out with Elita Nutrition.
Elita Performance Nutrition. Speed, strength, recovery.
I want to thank Papa John's Pizza, better ingredients, better pizza. They're big supporters of high school football. They support the high school kids. We appreciate everything they do, and we'll be eating a lot of pizza when the show's over. You know, Peyton Manning, I always mention, he's got Papa John's Pizzas now. Had a great year with the Denver Broncos. It's a shame that had the worst performance of the year, but had a phenomenal season, 44 touchdowns and 5,000 yards for a guy that's almost 40 years old. It's amazing to do that late in your career in the NFL, put up those numbers, and took his team to the Super Bowl against the Seattle Seahawks. I want to go ahead and introduce my first guest, David Schultz, originally from Syracuse, New York. His hobbies is following the Orangemen of Syracuse, which is pretty good.
Sure.
You know, they're ranked number 4 right now in basketball. Yep. I do follow basketball, even though I do a football show, but Jim Boeheim has been there how long?
Well, he's been out there over 50 years total as a player, assistant coach, and a coach, but he's been coaching for, what, 38?
Over 50 years?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's amazing. You know, it's very few of those guys that have been at one school that long. You work with 103.7 The Game as your show. radio
Right.
show.
We're on 6 to 9 a.m. Sports Chat. Just started, just after Labor Day. I thought I'd have about a week to get used to the area and how to speak the language and everything like that. And they said, nope, you're going on Thursday.
Well, have you eaten crawfish yet?
Have not had that pleasure. I think I missed crawfish season, so we're just getting into that.
Gumbo, jambalaya?
Getting there.
You got to try that.
Well, I put on the Cajun 10 since I've gotten here. I'm putting on the Cajun 10.
I lived in Boston for about a year. Right out of high school, I was building tennis courts. I was laying down concrete and painting and putting up fences. And it was about 10 degrees the year I moved to Boston, Andover, Massachusetts. And that was an experience for a Louisiana guy.
Well, I moved to Florida a little bit ago, and that's the reason I live here now, is because I don't like the winters that they're having like this year in upstate New York. It's just been brutal.
So KDCG-TV, your company, which the GM is Chuck Wood, a friend of ours, airs our show tomorrow night at 6 o'clock.
Well, I get to promote it all morning on the show tomorrow.
Yeah, and we really enjoy having our show in that area around Lafayette and Mamou, Eunice, Opelousas, New Iberia, St. Martinville, those areas. Great high school football in those areas. Early Doucette came out of St. Martinville. Eunice, Chris Carrier. We got a DB, LSU does, with the Seahawks. Simon, who's got a great future with them. Opelousas, Devery Henderson, Opelousas High School.
Right. Well, Kevin Falk.
Karen Crow. You can name a few out of Karen Crow that have come out. Derek Beavers was a good running back. So you're getting to know Louisiana. I mean, you're
a little bit.
You know the LSU baseball program is national. You knew of them before you moved here.
Of course, Warren Morris and that whole glory days. But I'm just over from the UL, the Raging Cajuns and LSU baseball game that's going on tonight. So we'll head back over there. But yeah, just getting into the swing of things. Raging Cajuns had a great football season. I saw a lot of the LSU games as well. A little bit disappointing season, though. Great finish against Arkansas. That was. Save the best for last. That was a great game, great finish.
So you cover the New Orleans Saints also.
We try to. I went to one Saints game. So we obviously talk a lot about the Saints. That's what everyone wants to talk about. What they're going to do with Jimmy Graham.
So what is that like for you growing up liking the Patriots?
Well, I mean, I try to make my show personal.
Right.
I try to make my show personal, and the Patriots won their first Super Bowl down here in New Orleans. So we try to make it not too much about New England. We try to recap it when if they make news. It's more news when they lose actually than when they win. And we actually had a watch party. We had a bunch of people come out when the Saints did play the Patriots, and it was real noisy for most of that football game, and then it got real quiet at the end. So. The Patriots came out.
I remember they had Bledsoe before Brady, but I remember Grogan.
Well, that's when I started liking him. Yeah, that's yeah.
When I was in high school, it's amazing. And Kevin Mawai, when we introduced Kevin Mawai, ex-NFL player, long career, LSU, Leesville, Wampus Cat. I know he's smiling right now, but the Patriots couldn't win a football game when I was growing up. I mean, Grogan. They just couldn't.
Well, at that point in time, they're always the best team not to get to the Super Bowl, right? They would lose to the Raiders in the postseason, and then finally they broke through in the mid '80s.
Grogan's later
years. But that's when I started liking them, when they were Grogan and Mike Haynes and Stanley Morgan and Russ Francis and Steve Nelson. So I liked them way before they got good.
Right, like the Houdat when people were wearing those hats back in the day with Archie Manning. Way before that, I was going to those games for the New Orleans Saints back in the '70s. My dad would take me to the Archie Manning games when they had
good seats.
Conrad Dobler on the O-line, and they didn't have a great defense back then or a great O-line like Kevin White. They didn't have guys like that blocking for Archie, a whole O-line that would protect him. Then Earl Campbell came in the picture later with Bum Phillips and all those guys.
Followed the Saints a little bit because the quarterback I grew up with in Syracuse when I was old enough to realize it was Billy Hurley.
Yeah.
Bobby Hurley.
Bobby
Hurley.
Basketball.
No. The quarterback.
Quarterback, Bobby.
And he ended up being a safety for Syracuse. He was an option QB for Syracuse, and he ended up being a safety defensive back for the Saints.
Okay.
Maybe Billy Hurley.
Billy
Hurley.
Okay.
And he played for the Saints. So when we got a chance to watch him, only played a few years, got hurt. Kind of small.
My favorite Saints player was the later years. Kenny Stabler, when he became a Saints quarterback. They had all these ex-guys, at the end of their career. It was a whole team of guys in their late 30s, and Bum Phillips was the coach. That was a great time to watch all these guys. They had kickers like Efren Herrera, come in. He was like 40 years old with the Saints kicking the ball, and, it was an interesting time. It's amazing what they've done with Drew Brees and Coach Payton now and where they are.
It really is. It really is. They need to concentrate a little bit more on the running game a little bit, and maybe they only need to concentrate on that when they hit the road because they're so explosive at home. But nonetheless, I think that's where they need to improve just a little bit.
Can't forget about the Bobby Hebert years when they had Sam Mills and Vaughn Johnson and Pat Swilling and Ricky Jackson. That was a phenomenal defense.
Well, that's what turned it around. That's what turned the organization around.
Those guys were they were so close to winning, to getting there with that great defense at that time. David, we're talking about, and you're a big golf fan too, right?
Sure.
Big golf guy.
Absolutely.
So you got 3 hours every day in Lafayette to talk about the Cajuns, LSU. What do you find is the most popular items that people want to talk about?
Well, we're trying to figure that out. We're just here now, and obviously today was a good day to talk about it with the Raging Cajuns and LSU playing baseball. And the big topic today was, and I'm just getting all new to this stuff. So can the Raging Cajuns make it back to Omaha without facing LSU? And they said, well, of course they can, but they had to go back to 2000 for them to do it. So if somehow the Raging Cajuns can avoid LSU in the regional and the super regional, maybe they'll have a better chance. But if they don't face LSU, they're going to face another #1 team. So I guess it doesn't really matter which direction they go.
Well, I know some of those Raging Cajun fans in Lafayette love to beat LSU when they play baseball.
Of course.
They throw their #1 pitcher, and sometimes LSU didn't throw their #1 in that game. Sometimes it's
tonight,
their #3 guy.
Tonight, neither one of them are throwing their #1.
Cody Glenn, right? Cody Glenn for LSU. Is it Cody?
Milhorn.
Okay, we're going to take a break. When we come back, David, we're going to bring you back.
Right.
We're also going to have Aaron Dietrich call in from KNOE in Monroe. We're going to talk Monroe football, West Monroe, Neville, Ouachita Christian, and that area. I'm good friends with Aaron. We're also going to bring in Kevin Mawai, former LSU football player, longtime NFL player, and I always say the Leesville Wampus Cats in Leesville, Louisiana, a great place. Produced a lot of football players in the NFL. We'll be back in just a moment. Be sure to like our Facebook page for the magazine. It's www.facebook.com/LA Football Magazine or at LA Football Mag TV for Twitter. And we appreciate that. This is also our State Farm. We want to recognize Barbara Smith and also Joan Landry, Joan in Denham Springs and Barbara in Livingston, Louisiana, big supporters of high school football on our show. Be sure to support them in their areas when you're thinking of insurance. They're great State Farm agents, big part of what we do. I want to go ahead and go back to David Schultz, and we also have calling in, David, we have Aaron Dietrich, who's sports director with KNOE TV in Monroe, Louisiana. Aaron, glad to have you on the show tonight.
Good evening, Lee. How you doing this morning?
Doing good. You know, you're busy in Monroe. You know, every time I drive up, we'll go do lunch or talk about the local high schools. And you know, this show airs not only on your CW, but it's all over Louisiana. And Aaron, they'll be able to see in all the different markets. But I wanted to get right away, ask you about Aaron's Aces. This is something you've come up with every week that I know that you want to promote all over the state tonight.
Yeah, since I came here in September of 2000, and since that first week, we wanted to do something to honor, of course, a high school athlete. And we've been doing it now for, I guess, 13 and a half years. We honor, you know, an area, so basically our player of the week, either in football, basketball, baseball, track and field. And we've handed out, I think, over 1,000 aces now. Of course, it comes with a T-shirt and everything. But we enjoy doing it, giving the spotlight to the kids around Northeast Louisiana. And you know, during that time, we've had, you know, numerous All-Americans and, you know, all-district, all-state players, a few world champions in powerlifting. So we pretty much covered it all. But it's pretty cool to look back and see all the kids you've honored and, of course, gave a little bit of the spotlight to over the last 13 and a half years.
Aaron, you went to Southwest Texas State University and moved to Monroe. I know you love the Monroe area, West Monroe, Ruston, that area. You've gotten to know the high schools really well. Not a great year this past year in football, but never a down year for high school football talent in the Monroe, West Monroe area.
Yeah, exactly. You know, typically we'll have at least one or two state champions. Thankfully, Union was able to win a state championship, a remarkable story with the Farmers, and of course, the situation that happened during the spring with Jaleel Gibson, of course, dying and playing in his memory throughout the year. And for them to win a state championship and then to win it in dramatic fashion like they did in overtime, and of course scoring 33 points, Jaleel's number, it was pretty surreal, pretty incredible to say the least. But yeah, overall it was a little bit of a down year in Northeast Louisiana, but you have to feel like the likes of West Monroe, Neville, and OCS will certainly rebound in a big way. And of course, look out for the Mangum Dragons. They returned and pretty much the nucleus of last year's team, and Tommy Tharp's squad will be very dangerous and very good next year.
Aaron, I know that you also cover ULM pretty heavily, ULM of Monroe football program, and we also have David Schultz here, who's out of Lafayette with 103.7 The Game. He has a radio show for 3 hours, and they cover the Cajuns. And I was wanting you two to maybe talk, because it's a big rival game now, the Raging Cajuns and ULM.
Well, ULM came into Cajun Field this year and upset them when, you know, ULM was decimated with injuries and a QB that came back when he wasn't supposed to come back. Aaron, though, my idea is, because I walked into Lafayette when this was going on, the controversy with the names. You know, Lafayette, you know, wants to be University of Louisiana, except they're ULL, and the same thing with Monroe. I say whoever wins a football game, in this case it would be ULM, next year they get to be University of Louisiana. What do you say?
I'd be all for that. And, you know, I have a morning radio show for 2 hours on the ESPN affiliate up here, and I'd say a week or 2 weeks don't go by that the name game certainly doesn't spark some debate, and it certainly gets a lot of Warhawk fans' feathers a little bit wrinkled up here whenever they talk about, you know, want to be called Louisiana instead of UL Lafayette or ULL. So, yeah, it's high drama. And, of course, last year we tried to build a little bit of a storyline in terms of the year previous when the Cajuns scored late on a 60-yard pass to beat, you know, kind of rubbing the score on the Warhawks. Todd Berry kind of downplayed that. But the way it played out, of course, with ULM going down there this year and knocking off the Cajuns when, of course, they were bowl-bound, it was certainly sweet for guys like Colton Browning, who had never beaten the Cajuns in their career.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you throw Colton Browning into the picture with the two programs, Stan Humphreys, Doug Peterson, Bubby Brister, and Terrence Broadway's got a future with the Cajuns.
Sure.
And Jake Delhomme, what a group of quarterbacks between the two programs, right?
Well, absolutely. And, you know, the Raging Cajuns are returning 17 starters next year. And most of the quarterbacks, the other veteran quarterbacks in the conference are gone. So the Raging Cajuns are going to be, I would think, the heavy favorite for the Sun Belt. And I'm going to promote, 12-0 or bust. You know, they got to go to Boise State and they got to go to Ole Miss. They host La Tech. So we'll see what
Aaron,
we can
what do you think of ULM now that Colton Browning's moving on? I love Colton Browning as a pro.
Yeah, without a doubt. Just what Colton Browning meant for that program, not only the face, but pretty much the heart and soul of this team. And offensively, of course, they struggled. We went down last year with his injuries. He came back. He had modest success. Replacing him is going to be, a major ordeal for that program. They still return relatively a pretty young and experienced squad with a lot of juniors coming back. But, of course, when you lose a guy like Colton Browning, that leadership in the huddle, he will certainly be hard to replace. I did find it a little hard to believe that he wasn't invited to the combine.
Yeah.
I know in terms of his numbers, in terms of, maybe his arm strength and his size being about 6 foot, 6'1", it may not dazzle the scouts, but he is just a pure winner. And, I mean, you can ask anybody in the Sun Belt Conference or even Arkansas, and I think they'll agree to that.
I remember when Brett Favre was coming out of Southern Miss, they said he was too short. He'd never play in the pros, because he played at Southern Miss. It wasn't Ole Miss or Mississippi State. And then Russell Wilson was at North Carolina State, and I remember there was an ESPN game, and they're like, he's 5'10", he needs to go pro baseball. He ends up transferring to Wisconsin, and they still said he wouldn't make it in the NFL. He's 5'10", he won the Super Bowl. I mean, we'll ask Kevin that later. But
Is that considered making it?
I would think so. He's only 25 years old.
Right.
I mean, that's young to be. Brady was a young Super Bowl winner, a couple of championships. But Aaron, I want you to promote real quick your radio show in Monroe, how people can call in, if there's a call number to call you in the Monroe area, and when it's played and when they can talk to you every day.
Sure. Starting the first of the year, we expanded 2 hours. We're from 7 to 9 now. We went from the Aaron Dietrich Show to the Morning Drive with Dietrich and White. Nick White, of course, the voice of the ULM Warhawks for basketball. He's my tag team partner. You can join us every morning on ESPN 97.7 from 7 o'clock till 9 o'clock. Of course, phone lines are always open, 888-993-7762. We're having a lot of fun with it.
And obviously you're on the 6 o'clock, 10 o'clock news, KNOE TV, locally in Monroe. Talking sports.
We continue to, of course, keep track of all the guys as they try to move on, of course, their professional careers, even guys at Louisiana Tech, Grambling, and ULM, and, of course, high school basketball. It continues to heat up with the girls' playoffs, and, of course, the boys getting ready to tip off on Friday.
Aaron, I'll be up in 2 weeks to see you. Maybe we can get some good lunch again. I know they had some really good hamburgers. I took your advice on the last lunch we had, but a lot of talent coming up in Monroe next year. West Monroe and Neville's loaded, as you know.
Yeah, without a doubt, and hopefully, LSU and Louisiana Tech, ULM, and other state schools can kind of keep the blue chip recruits in state next year, not let Cameron Sims, Hootie Jones, and Cameron Robinson get out like they did this year to Alabama.
Get that fence back up in North Louisiana, correct. Look, appreciate it, Aaron. I'll see you soon. Appreciate your time.
All right, guys. Appreciate it.
Okay, and also, David, I want you to promote your show.
Sure.
How to call you. What's the number to call in Lafayette?
Well, it's 337-706-0111. We're on 6 to 9, Monday through Fridays. It's Sports Chat, and we just like to have a good time, a good conversation, usually make fun of myself. Has been mostly the case. So we like to laugh at ourselves and laugh overall and have a good time. Try to keep it light.
I'd like to thank Chuck Wood and for being here, GM with the station, and Karen Crow, Louisiana, Delta Media, and also Chris Cox, who does a good job on radio. I've been on the radio show with Chris a few
He's
times.
on in the end zone from, starts at 4 o'clock.
Good luck to you. Look, eat some crawfish soon.
I will. Thanks for having me on, Lee. I appreciate it.
Glad to have you. Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. When we come back, we're going to have Kevin Mawai and also Donnie Jones, between the two of them, 25 years of NFL experience in the NFL. We'll be back in just a moment.
Hi folks, John Adams from Mansfield Auto World. Listen, we know you have choices when you're in the market to buy a new vehicle. But Mansfield Auto World wants to challenge you that our dealership should be your only choice for getting it right. You haven't shopped a dealer more serious about what you want, about the customer service you deserve, about service after the sale that makes you want to come back. Give us a chance to prove it. Call 872-4646 or shop MansfieldAutoworld.com. We are the marketplace for Chevrolet and Buick.
Last year we implemented a nutritional program designed to enhance the overall performance of our athletes.
We've seen a measurable increase in our athletes' size, strength, speed, and power with a shortened recovery period.
The Elite Nutrition Program is the only program that combines the parent, the athlete, and the coaches to reach maximum performance.
If you're looking for game day performance, max out with Adleta Nutrition.
Adleta Performance Nutrition. Speed, strength, recovery.
The leader in orthopedic care for over 60 years, North Louisiana Orthopedic and Sports Medicine Clinic. With state-of-the-art diagnostic, treatment, surgical, and rehabilitation services. You can expect the quality of metropolitan health care with the convenience of a local practice and a team of people who truly care about your recovery. 12 orthopedic doctors, 3 sports medicine specialists, 1 goal, getting you back in the game. North Louisiana Orthopedic and Sports Medicine Clinic.
Hi folks, John Adams from Mansfield Auto World. Listen, we know you have choices when you're in the market to buy a new vehicle. But Mansfield Auto World wants to challenge you that our dealership should be your only choice for getting it right. You haven't shopped a dealer more serious about what you want, about the customer service you deserve, about service after the sale that makes you want to come back. Give us a chance to prove it. Call 872-4646 or shop MansfieldAutoworld.com. We are the marketplace for Chevrolet and Buick.
Last year we implemented a nutritional program designed to enhance the overall performance of our athletes.
We've seen a measurable increase in our athletes' size, strength, speed, and power with a shortened recovery period.
The Elite Nutrition Program is the only program that combines the parent, the athlete, and the coaches to reach maximum performance.
If you're looking for game day performance, max out with Adleta Nutrition.
Adleta Performance Nutrition. Speed, strength, recovery.
Welcome back to Louisiana Football TV Magazine. We've got Kevin Mawai in studio to introduce him. I mean, it would take a year to talk about his career. I mean, he played 16 years in the NFL. You know, sometimes I want to say 17, 18 years. He played a long time, represented LSU, you know, big time, represented the NFL, was president, 2-term president of the union.
Yeah.
For the players.
Yep.
That's a big deal. And then, you know, played center, hard position to play in the league. Played center at LSU, came out of Leesville High School. The Wampus Cats, known for Eddie Fuller, Ray Smoot, who played for the Chargers, was a teammate of Kevin's. They were different ages, but they went to school around the same time. Vincent Fuller, Eddie Fuller's little brother, had a good career. Kavita Pittman played in the NFL, had a good career with McNeese, and I believe Dallas Cowboys for a little bit. Cecil Collins, the Diesel, had a short career, but one of the greatest short career guys you can ever talk about. Remember Cecil in the Dome, when state championship against Salmon, when the Leesville went to the Superdome. But Kevin, I'm just appreciative of you being here, taking time out of your busy schedule now that you're retired. But I mean, you have a family now. You live in Baton Rouge now.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. August made a year back in Baton Rouge, so retired out of Tennessee with the Titans. Stayed there for 2 years. I intern coached at Vanderbilt, and I coached high school ball for a year, but we felt it was time to come back home, be close to family and friends, our church back here, and it's just been good be back home, be back around Baton Rouge, the LSU Tigers.
When you started at LSU, and we talked about this off the air, and it is what it is, but the winning at LSU when you were there, it was a dark time.
There was no winning when I was there.
There was no TV games either. Was it on TV? Were you on TV?
Yeah, well,
couple of games.
The last game, not the last game, but my senior year we played Florida on ESPN at home, the worst loss in LSU's history. Yeah, I came here. LSU won the SEC title in '86. They tied for the SEC title in '87. And then we just, took a downhill slope after that. Curly Hallman came in. I think in the 4 years I started, we won maybe 14 games, 17 games or something like that. And I refer to it as the dark ages of LSU football. And it really is. If you read all the periodicals about LSU's football, they write about the 1860s all the way up to the '89 season. and then they stop writing, and then it picks back up in '96 when it went back to the Independence Bowl. And that gap in there is kind of the dark spot that myself and my teammates lived in.
What's amazing, we talked about this, but Darren Landry came in from Ponchatoula, Jeff Cancian from John Curtis. I mean, really the top guys in the state, yourself. They had you at 6'6", about 245. You said you went to 6'3" and an eighth in the pros, right?
Yeah, I shrunk. I got shorter and fatter when I got to the NFL. But everybody does it in high school. You pump up your stats, and of course you couldn't check on them with internet and all that back then. So I was 6'6", 235 pounds. I really came to LSU at 6'4", 225 pounds. And I found out 5 years later that I was really 6'3" and 5/8", and I'd gained 30 pounds. So I got bigger and rounder.
We've got Donnie Jones on the phone too, Kevin. I know that you know of Donnie. They are different in the age groups of playing at LSU, but everybody keeps up with Tigers that played.
Yep, absolutely.
Donnie, glad to have you on the show. We got Kevin Mawai here in studio. I know you know who Kevin is.
Lee, thanks for having me. Yeah, it's an honor to be calling in with Kevin on the program. I mean, what an outstanding career he's had, and was able to accomplish so many things. So, sorry I couldn't be there, but definitely wanted to call in and be a part of it tonight.
Donnie, you got a deep snapper you work with. Kevin played center in the NFL, and you punt. Your life and your contract and your living relies on that center getting the ball to you. How important is that? I mean, obviously that's you and the deep snapper. You can appreciate a center like Kevin playing all those years in the NFL.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, the guy I had this year in Philadelphia, John Dornbos, he's one of the best, and that's why he's been around. I think he just finished year 11. And, the more consistent those guys are, the more consistent I can be. And I tell you what, knowing where that ball is going to be every time makes my job a whole lot easier. So, I definitely, it's a guy you want to have a lot of confidence in and, especially be able to trust on game day.
I remember when you were in high school talking to your dad at Catholic High, the Bears in Baton Rouge, and you were a tight end and a punter. And I remember you're playing Shaw, Archbishop Shaw in New Orleans in the playoff game, and this guy's on the sideline with me, and he's like a local guru for that area, and he's like, I want to watch this tight end. I was like, who's the tight end? I said, Donnie Jones. I said, he's a D1 punter. He said, D1 punter? I thought he was a tight end. I said, he is. He's an all-state tight end and happens to be a D1 punter. But people forget that you were a heck of a tight end in high school.
Yeah, that was many years ago. I was. I think I was pretty good. I'm glad I chose the punting route, though. I feel a whole lot better after 10 years in the NFL as a punter. You probably ask Kevin after 16. I'm sure his body probably feels a little different than mine does. But I'm glad I took the punting route, especially on Mondays when all the guys come in and they're sore and I'm heading out to the golf course.
Yeah, I wouldn't recognize you, Donnie, if you were 270 as a tight end. 275.
No, I like 225.
Right. Donnie, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back to you and also Kevin and talk some NFL, talk some LSU. When we come back, we're going to take a break. We'll be back in just a moment. Check out our Facebook page for our magazine. Like our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/LA Football Magazine, or Twitter @LA Football Mag TV. We're going to go back to Donnie Jones, the current punter of the Philadelphia Eagles, which, like you mentioned, the NFL. You're looking forward, hopefully, to being in Philadelphia this coming year as a punter.
Yeah, Lee. I'm a free agent. I think this is the third year in a row, and I'm sure you can ask Kevin, to play as long as he did. I've just finished 10. I mean, you got to be lucky. You got to be good. What you do, but you also, the timing of things and the way things work out. You have to have a little luck. So I've been fortunate, to play like I said, for 10 years, and hopefully, I'm back in Philadelphia. Should know a lot more within the next week or two, but if not there, wherever.
Yeah.
I still feel good. I'm still young. I still feel I can contribute to a team. So hopefully within the next couple of weeks, something will work out for me.
Well, I'll tell you what. I've known you since you were 16 years old at Catholic High. Your average in NFL is in a 9-10 year span is one of the best in the league, and you should have had 9 Pro Bowls. But you had a guy, Shane Leckler, that, I don't know, did they just vote him in every year before voting? I mean,
the Pro Bowl is, I've never been voted in. I think I've been an alternate a couple times, and
yeah.
Hey, it is what it is. I think a lot of that is name recognition. Every year there's guys that deserve to be in that don't get in. So,
yeah.
As a player what you do and if you performed, and to play, for a long time in the NFL, you have to be consistent. And that's the one thing, especially my position, they look for is, can you not, can this guy play a good game? And if so, then can he have another one? And maybe then can you have another one? Can he have a good year? And then can he have another good year? And that's what keeps guys around is being consistent, obviously staying healthy. And, so that's the thing. I try to work every year to keep getting better and better, knowing that there's always somebody out there that wants your position.
Yeah.
And with my job, there's only 32 of us. So, you can't take anything for granted, and you got to always make sure you're on top of your game.
Donnie, Kevin has a question for you. Your deep snapper, he was a teammate of your deep snapper. He wanted to ask you.
So you guys explain to the people that are listening to you about John Dornbos. John Dornbos was a teammate of mine with Tennessee Titans. He came in after our snapper got hurt. Is he or is he not one of the best sleight of hand magicians you've ever been around in your life?
He is unbelievable. And the thing about John, and I always joke with him like, man, I said, John, you're a great snapper, but you're an even better magician because this guy.
That's the truth.
Some of the stuff he does and did in the locker room while everybody else was in meetings, and obviously we've got a lot of spare time because we don't meet as much. But some of these things he would do, have this sealed FedEx envelope, and you'd sign a card, and somehow it would appear in that FedEx envelope. Or, one day he had this big, it was a life-size, dice, and he made one of the equipment managers appear out of the dice. Just off-the-wall type stuff, but he is phenomenal. And, John has his story, he went through a tragic event earlier in his life, and I think magic was one of the things that kind of helped him cope with that from what I got, being around him this year. But, he's a great person too, man. I enjoy being around him, but his magic tricks are sure something.
Donnie, we'll be back with you one more segment. We're going to take a break. Stay online, and we'll come back with you and Kevin Mawai. We've got a couple of segments left. We're going to talk more about the New Orleans Saints. Donnie was able to punt in a game against his hometown team, an hour away from New Orleans, the New Orleans Saints. We'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back. We have Donnie Jones, the starting punter for the Philadelphia Eagles. Kevin Mawai, a longtime NFL player, former LSU Tiger, Leesville Wampus Cat. We'll go back to Donnie and Kevin, but question for Donnie and Kevin. I'll let Kevin answer this first, but you know, all the teams that you played for, Kevin, Seattle, Tennessee Titans, New York Jets, Bill Parcells, all these legendary guys. How are the fans compared to the great, crazy LSU fans? So how was that? Was there certain fans in the league that were just more motivated by being loud than others?
Yeah, you know, as a player, I played in all the stadiums, and you kind of get your favorite road game stadiums, stuff like that. The New York Jets fans are unbelievable. They're blue collar. They love their Jets, the gangrene, the whole bit. And I joked around with them one year that they will root for you to lose the game so that you can get a higher draft pick so they can boo your draft pick on draft day. So that's kind of New York Jets fans. And then, you know, when I was in Seattle, we were a mediocre team. It was nothing like the 12th man is now up there. It's unbelievable. Tennessee Titans, it's a great crowd because they're football fans. They appreciate, whether you win or lose, they appreciate good football because it's an SEC crowd. But my favorite place to play, Kansas City, at the time was the loudest stadium in the NFL. I love going down to Oakland. It's like they let the prisons out for the weekend, and you got all the black and the silver, and then all the painted faces, and then they all come back. Yeah, and so I mean, but nothing beats playing at LSU in front of the purple and gold and the LSU crowd and stuff. It's a different atmosphere. It's more business when you're playing the NFL, and you don't kind of get caught up in it. But at LSU, when you play there, it's special because you're playing for all the right reasons. Donnie, what do you think? Your take with the fans? You're now Philadelphia. You told me those were some of the greatest fans you've ever met.
Yeah, they are of all the places I've played, and I started out, you know, my career in Seattle, and that place gets loud, but you know, I don't think I've ever played in a city where the fans were more passionate than Philadelphia. And you know, they let you hear it when you do good, and they let you hear it even more when you do bad. And, you know, it's something though that if you're a good player there, the city embraces you. And, you know, if you play well for that team, you know, they really, you know, the fans will love you. So, but, you know, again, like Kevin said, you know, for me personally, growing up in Baton Rouge and having the opportunity to play at LSU in front of, you know, basically, you know, my hometown, you know, that's something I'll never forget. And there's no other place like Tiger Stadium. So, you know, I'll say that. And what he said, you know, the NFL is a business. You know, and in college, you know, I just remember you had to win every game because if you lost one, you were probably out of the national championship. Where in the NFL, if you lose a game, you know, you still have a shot. You talk to your buddies, hey, how you doing? Good to see you. And then you get in your suit and you fly home. So, but yeah, you know, I definitely miss LSU, man. I'll always be a Tiger. And, you know, I enjoy living back here in Baton Rouge with all, you know, my family, my friends, and being able to go there and work out. And, you know, it's a great town. And LSU is a great place, so I'll always, you know, always have a special place in my heart.
Donnie, what about the, you know, playing in the cold weather? This is your first cold team. You know, you were indoors with St. Louis, and Houston wasn't as bad, but you know, Philly's pretty cold.
Yeah, that was one thing. You know, I think personally that kind of hurt me the last couple of years in free agency. Is, you know, I came out of St. Louis, I didn't really have a great year. Teams that needed punters were, you know, with the exception of Houston, you know, a lot of these northern teams. And when I left Houston this year, all the teams that needed punters were northern teams. So the big thing when I signed in Philly was, you know, I asked the general manager, Howie Roseman, I said, you know, why a one-year deal? Well, we want to see how you do up here, you know, when it's 20 degrees and it's snowing. You've played indoors for the last 6. So, you know, and that's, you know, that's a great point, you know, because obviously I spent, you know, more than half my career indoors. And I tell you what, it's different. It's a different animal, man. We had a couple games this year. The Saints playoff game was cold, but the Detroit Lions game, I've never, you know, seen anything like that.
You felt that.
In it. Yeah, it was unreal. So actually, you know, in my office, I was selected captain for that game, and I have a picture. You know, the snow was ankle, you know, coming to your ankles. And, you know, it was hard to walk, much less run and try to tackle somebody. They returned a punt on us, and I don't even think I came close.
Yeah. Kevin was talking about, and and I'll get you to comment after Donnie, but you told me you were deep snapping a little bit. Yeah. You didn't want to.
No.
You had to deep snap for the team. But you made a tackle, and you're only.
Yeah, you know, I started deep snapping in high school, so I was my snapper for high school in Leesville in '89, and then I did it at LSU for a year because of injuries. And I was in Seattle. Jason Kyle was our longtime snapper. He blew his shoulder out, so I had to snap the rest of the season. And I didn't cover. I was the safety behind the punter. And as I snapped the ball, we kicked it, we punted it. Tamarick Vanover catches the ball, and he's at times the most dangerous punt returner in the NFL.
Kansas City, yeah.
And I was like, this is great. And he breaks free. I'm sitting there shuffling back and forth, and he breaks containment, and then he breaks past the punter, and my eyes are huge. And I break down on him, and he fumbles the ball in front of me. And so I recover the ball, and I get up. I'm dancing to spike the ball down. I get turf burns. But then that's when I realized you shouldn't be a snapper if you're a starting offensive lineman, because now we had to go back on a drive after covering this punt. And so every time after that, if we punted and I snapped and I saw the fair signal or that we were going to I stopped on a dime and I went 90 degrees to the sideline and never made another special teams tackle in my career.
Donnie, you can relate to that as a punter. You're not trying to go tackle the guys. You got to punt.
No, I joke with our special teams coach. I said, man, I said, you know, it's kind of rough being on the punt team because you have 9 guys that are covering, because I don't count myself, or I don't count Dorenbos. He just kind of runs down the middle of the field and tries to make the guy cut one way or the other. But you know, if you have to do it, you know, obviously I'm gonna try my best to stop the guy. I think I was 1 for 2 this year. I made a tackle in Tampa, and then in Detroit. You know, we played Detroit. I whiffed, but I don't even think I left my feet.
As long as it's not Knock'em Sue you were trying to tackle too.
Exactly.
Donnie, any final thoughts before we let you go? I know, you know, wish you the best your upcoming year and wherever it's going to be. Hopefully it's Philadelphia, but I know you'll have a job in the NFL punting. You're one of the top punters in the league. And any final thoughts? I know that you're in Baton Rouge right now, resting up, getting ready.
Yeah, no, you know, I just, you know, I'm thankful for, you know, the opportunity I've been given and have been able to play as long as I have. You know, I just, you know, hey, I'm going to try to keep doing it as long as I can. You know, like I said, I feel good. You know, I feel really better than I've ever felt. You know, I'll be 34 this year. Wow, 34.
Unbelievable.
So yeah, so time flies. But, you know, I just kind of want to, you know, say to you that, you know, when I first met you, man, you know, just starting out, how you've grown your company, your magazine, and the program, and what an outstanding job you do in recruiting and finding talent. And, you know, I really appreciate you having me on. I appreciate coming on with Kevin. I would have loved to see you get that O-line job, man.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, it's always good that, you know, like I said, see, you know, another guy from LSU come out and have success. And Kevin has done it. It was played so long, but not only successful on the field, but off the field as well. So, Lee, congrats on doing so well. Kevin, congrats on an awesome career. And thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it, Donnie, and I'll see you at dinner one of these nights.
Well, we'll have to do it, man, definitely. I'll
Okay.
dinner on you.
Okay, there you go. I'll see you. Okay,
right,
we'll be
man.
back
Thanks.
with our final segment with Kevin Mawai. We're going to talk about Healing Place and a lot of the stuff that he does spiritually involves God and what a great person he is off the field after football. We'll be back in just a moment.
Last year, we implemented a nutritional program designed to enhance the overall performance of our athletes.
We've seen a measurable increase in our athletes' size, strength, speed, and power with a shortened recovery period.
The Elite Nutrition Program is the only program that combines the parent, the athlete, and the coaches to reach maximum performance.
If you're looking for game day performance, max out with Adleta Nutrition.
Adleta Performance Nutrition. Speed, strength, recovery.
The leader in orthopedic care for over 60 years, North Louisiana Orthopedic and Sports Medicine Clinic. With state-of-the-art diagnostic, treatment, surgical, and rehabilitation services. You can expect the quality of metropolitan health care with the convenience of a local practice. And a team of people who truly care about your recovery. 12 orthopedic doctors, 3 sports medicine specialists, 1 goal, getting you back in the game. North Louisiana Orthopedic and Sports Medicine Clinic.
Hi folks, John Adams from Mansfield Auto World. Listen, we know you have choices when you're in the market to buy a new vehicle. But Mansfield Auto World wants to challenge you that our dealership should be your only choice for getting it right. You haven't shopped a dealer more serious about what you want, about the customer service you deserve, about service after the sale that makes you want to come back. Give us a chance to prove it. Call 872-4646 or shop MansfieldAutoworld.com. We are the marketplace for Chevrolet and Buick.
Last year we implemented a nutritional program designed to enhance the overall performance of our athletes.
We've seen a measurable increase in our athletes' size, strength, speed, and power with a shortened recovery period.
The Elite Nutrition Program is the only program that combines the parent, the athlete, and the coaches to reach maximum performance.
If you're looking for game day performance, max out with Adlita Nutrition.
Adlita Performance Nutrition. Speed, strength, recovery.
Welcome back. This is the magazine from this past year. Our first one was in '96. This is the one from 013. Working on 14 right now. It's the top 25 recruits on the cover. This is the one that came out this past summer. Again, we're working on the one currently. There's 50 kids that are good enough to be on the cover this coming year. And those are some of the places you can get it. And if you're a parent and your son was in this past year's magazine, you can email us, lafootballmagazine.com/store, and get in touch with us. We'd love to make sure you get a copy of your son being in the magazine. We do about 8,000 to 10,000 kids covered every year in our magazine statewide. And I was wanting to get back with you, Kevin. You're retired now. You're in Baton Rouge. I know you're involved with Dunham High School with your kids.
Yep.
Church is real big for you with speaking and talking to fellowship.
Yeah.
And
Dunham High School, my kids go there. Both my kids are swimmers. My son is a double state winner at the state swim meet this year as a 100 back and 100 free swimmer. So we're swim parents. I serve on one of the committees there, and it's a great school. We're glad to be plugged in there. And then Healing Place Church has been my home church since the day I became a Christian. I had tragedy in my life. My brother was killed in a car accident in '96, and kind of flipped the way I thought about things, or understood that my position in the NFL was more of a platform than it was for myself, and really have taken that over the years and used that as an opportunity to speak to men's groups, church groups, and things like that, FCA, Athletes in Action. I'm actually speaking for the coaches out there, coachestimeout.org. It's an organization that ministers to high school coaches specifically, and they hold a conference in Manning, Louisiana at Cypress Bend.
Oh, Manning, yeah.
So that's in June, so check that out, and I'll be speaking there. And that's what I do. I try to encourage men and young men to be what I believe God has called them to be, to reach their potential and understand that athletics is a platform to be able to have influence on the community and people around you, and not just to put yourself on a pedestal. So that's kind of what I do, and to get plugged in, with the men at the church and things like that.
I don't want to stay on it too long, but I know you interviewed for the LSU line position with LSU.
Yeah.
They hired the guy Grimes from Virginia Tech. Any thoughts about the future? I know you got kids coming up that you want to see.
Yeah, the LSU job was the right time in this situation. My wife and I spoke about it. If I were to get hired, we could make it work. I understand the grind of the recruiting and stuff like that.
The hours and all that.
Yeah, and I understand that world. And I left the interview with Coach Miles, and it was a great interview, and we had a good conversation. And at the end of the day, I told Les, if you just do what you think is best for the school, I want what's best for LSU. I thought I was the best guy for LSU. I still think I would have been.
Right.
But you never know what the future holds. And, I'm not going to close the door on coaching. But right now, I'm focusing on my kids, and my son will be a senior, my daughter will be a freshman, and then we'll get through their high school careers, and we'll see what's up.
You know what? In the next 3-4 years, you might be back in that spot.
You know what? The thing about coaches is not matter when you get fired. It's if you get fired, win. Not saying it's going to happen here, but it's just the nature of the beast.
Or people move on.
And there's opportunities. People move on. They retire. Slots open up. And the coaching, what I know about this, it's about networking. Who do you know? Do they really trust you? Can you deliver the message of the head coach and stuff like that? So I've been around the game long enough to understand the game of coaching. But I also know enough about the game itself to teach players how to be the best they can be.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's not a perfect guy for the LSU position to recruit alone than you for Louisiana. And in Tennessee where you play.
Yeah, and the thing about recruiting is about building relationships with family, coaches, and teachers and players. And I can do that. I've never met a stranger before, and my credentials speak for themselves. But the hard part is getting people to believe that you can coach what you did and I believe I'm capable of doing that.
Kevin, thank you for being on tonight. We've got a Superior Grill gift certificate for you.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
We enjoyed it, and we'll love to have you back in the future.
Give me on in the fall. We'll talk about high school football. I call the games on Friday nights for Dunham when they stream live on the internet. So kind of figure out what's going on around the Baton Rouge area and Division II football and 2A.
Appreciate it.
So.
We're going to be replayed tonight. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow and tonight.